What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another Games Talk Live. I'm here today. We're going to have a good time. Got a good show for you today for sure. Real quick, I just want to say shout out to the guys over at the Just Gaming podcast. I was supposed to do their show today, but for circumstances I did not see coming until this morning, I had to cancel on them. But anyways, I will reschedule with them and do their show with them later. But I just want to say sorry, guys. That wasn't supposed to happen. Anyways, but today I have a great show. I have a fellow content creator, fellow gamer, fellow just awesome person here. Really, I've wanted to have him for a while on the show. He's one half host of the Game Circle podcast. This is K.Asante. Welcome, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me. This is a thrill for me, man. I'm usually either in the chat or I'm watching this later. This is one of my rotations for the weekend, so this is a thrill for me. I really appreciate you extending the invite.
Oh, it's my pleasure. So the Gamer Circle podcast, which you do with Everborn Saga, what got you started doing podcasting? What made you decide to do it? And what made you decide to do it with Everborn Saga? I've had him on the show, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course. I watched his episode. It was slanderous indeed, which I'm sure he's very proud of. I started this was actually not too long ago, believe it or not. I've always been a part of the gaming community. Always had been gaming adjacent all my life, basically, and for a while, I've been a consumer of podcasts. You know, I've been listening to certain podcasts and watching certain podcasts for years and years now. Some of them are part of our direct community, and some of them are adjacent, a little further away. But yeah, an opportunity presented itself where I think during the right between the last gen and the current gen we're in right now, the conversation started happening that I just couldn't let sit, right? So some folks were having conversations, and I happened to put my ones and twos in there on Twitter, and as you know, it snowballs. You know what Twitter's like. Yeah, I've seen you on there. You are infamous, good sir. So yes, one thing led to another, and it led me to being a guest on Mr. Boomstick XL Double Barrel Gaming's channel, which
that's right.
You know, I owe a lot to the man, because after that he said, "Hey, why not be a panel member?" And that's what really got the ball rolling for me as far as content creating and things like that. Now, as far as Mr. Everborn Saga, he and I just have great conversations, man. Like, it's funny the back and forth you see with us on the show is the back and forth we have constantly. We've had that since the day we started talking, and basically that one thing led to another, and we were like, hey, why are we not recording this? You know, this could be kind of interesting for folks. We like to debate. You know, we like to bicker like schoolboys. It is what it is, right? And then at the end of the day, we can shake hands and still agree to disagree. It's fun, and we try to keep it intellectual and keep it within the realm of facts, and always keeping it there. And people seem to enjoy it. So it's been great, man. It's fun that people have really caught on to it, and it seems to be growing. So I appreciate all the folks that come from week to week and check it out and annoy me the heck out of me when I miss an episode. I get people like dialing me going, what happened? What's going on? So it's an awesome feeling.
And what day and time is that usually?
That is usually on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have been known to, you know, move a little here and there. If life happens, you know, we'll do that, as well as some if we have some, you know, some famed guests, possibly some West Coast guests that may require us moving our times, we are very, very capable of doing so. I'm just saying, Mr. Fonzarelli.
Mm-hmm. Anytime, man. So you guys over there, you've been doing your thing. You're both gamers. It's funny because when I had Everborn Saga on the show, that man seems to have an answer for everything. And like, you know, that man can talk. That man can talk for sure.
He spends his time, like, what does he say? He spends his time sharpening his argumentative tools in the gauntlet that is the spaces and whatnot. So he seems to have, even when he doesn't believe his own arguments, sometimes he's got a good one. So it's good.
Shots fired from K.Asante.
What we do. That's what we do.
Shout out to Mr. Boomstick XL too. You mentioned him in his channel, of course. He is growing as well. And you've been on his show for quite some time now. You're on you've guested on several of his shows, like not just one.
Yeah, I've made the rounds. He and I have become very good friends. We call each other up on a daily. I wake up at 7:30 a.m. Well, these days 5 a.m. Shout out to the dads out there taking kids to school. But wake up
Facts.
at the butt crack of dawn, as they say, and then you see a tweet or a message from Boom, and you're like, "Oh, who bought who this morning? Darn it, something happened." Because
Yeah.
his is usually the first message I'll get when something crazy happens in gaming. So
Yeah, most definitely. So give us, you're a gamer. Give us like a brief rundown of your gaming history. Like, where did you start?
wow, that's a hard one. Yeah, that's an
It's easy. It's
interesting
not
question.
hard.
Well, no, because I've been gaming for so long, and I've
Same
lived in
here.
many places. So when the question of what's the first game I've ever played, I've asked myself that before, and you think about it, and I'm like, I'm not exactly sure. I think it might be Tetris.
I'm with you.
I don't know, maybe, but it's been a minute. These grays mean something, so I would say most likely Tetris. That was probably the first game I ever played. I've always been like I said, I've always been around gaming. I've always kind of tech. I've always spoken the language of tech. I consider it a language. New things come out all the time, but once you kind of understand the language of it, it helps you kind of
Oh,
understand it and
I love
progressively
tech,
add
but I
on to
don't
knowledge.
understand the language of tech. But I love tech. I always have.
It's been the thing that I've had in me for as long as I can remember. It's actually funny. I started in music.
Oh
I
wow,
studied music in school. I play some
nice.
instruments, things like that. And music, I was DJing, I was performing, doing a bunch of stuff. I lived in the Netherlands at the time. I was a young cat living with my family out there. And DJing and music led me to technology, which obviously, as tech grows, so does music. Hey,
Yeah.
look at these MP2s at the time. Yes,
Oh,
I'm dating myself.
MP2s.
MP2s. That's right. Yeah. So yeah, and it snowballed and whatnot, and that of course led to gaming. It led to technology. It led to building of PCs and whatnot. So it became my daily grind. It became a really enjoyable hobby for me. At least the technology of it anyway. But gaming really became a thing. Probably, I think I must have been like 6 years old, 7 years old, and I think I was 7 years old.
Can you remember the console
Kindergarten.
you were playing
It
back
wasn't a
then?
console, actually. It
Really?
wasn't a console, actually.
PC?
Yes, the first technically gaming thing I would say I ever saw was walking past. Like, and I was this was in kindergarten. This is the '80s, lad, the early
Oh,
'80s,
yeah,
very
yeah,
early '80s.
yeah. I'm
Walking
there.
walking past a school and walking past a computer room, which at the time, hot CRT room, you know what I'm saying, with a bunch
Yeah,
of big old
yeah.
monitors, right? And what you saw on it, it was technically a screensaver, but it was Wolfenstein 3D. That was the first experience I ever saw. The screensavers
Really?
that kind of walk around in there,
Yeah.
and he's walking around. It's a screensaver, but still, it was a level from Wolfenstein 3D, which I suspect my computer room of the time had a geek running it, so that's what was on every screensaver. So I'm like sitting there looking at it, like halfway in the hallway, mouth agape, 6-year-old boy, got a little gun in his hand and he's walking around. I'm just like, what is
Yeah.
that? You know.
Yeah. For
So
me,
that's
it
that's
was like
probably the first thing I remember. Yeah.
in our computer room, it was like Oregon Trail and, Math Munchers. It was always something weird and
It's good you say that. Yes, the first game, Chips Challenge. Remember that?
mm-mm,
This was
no.
on Windows Workstation 3.1. At the time, Windows was basically DOS, right? Windows 95 is when they actually went full GUI, where you had the mouse and the keyboard.
Yeah.
Before 95 officially, they had a DOS version that would boot up in DOS, and then you would hit a command to get into the GUI. And in there was a game called Chips Challenge, and it was basically a GUI. I'm sure the olds out there like me will remember. You find some keys which lets you into the door, and you get to different door. It was a
I don't
little
remember
almost
that.
dungeon
Yeah.
crawler of its day. Very old, primitive game. Chips Challenge. Look it up.
Awesome. Awesome. Well,
Mm-hmm.
my friend, I have a game I want to play with you today. Of course, if you've seen the
Uh-oh.
show, this is a trivia game I like to play.
Indeed.
And
Yes,
of
sir.
course, I like to call it.
Do we have a Hall of Shame?
No, we don't have a Hall of Shame.
Well, we're about to. Here we go.
Uh-oh. Yeah, I would definitely be in that Hall of Shame. I'd probably be at the top of that list because I couldn't answer any of these
Hey,
things. And
it's
it's
good.
not
Let's
because
go.
I don't know some of these questions. It's honestly because when somebody puts me on the spot, I'm like a deer in headlights. Everything goes
Like you're
away.
doing right now to me with the name underneath here. And where's the music?
Exactly. Exactly. I was on Ham Solo '05. Shout out to him, by the way. I
Yes,
was on
sir.
his
Great member of
podcast.
the community. Yeah.
Yeah, I was on his podcast one day and he was asking me questions and I had no idea. And I was sitting there and I drew a blank at the most simple question. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
what and then like later on it
Mm-hmm.
hit me and go, oh, and I started to answer some.
And
And
you feel
I
like
was
a
like,
fool, right? You
yeah.
feel
And I
like a
felt
fool,
like
but
a
at that
total
moment,
fool.
you're
But
just like, oh.
so I want to, preface this by telling people that K.Asante is no fool. Okay. If he doesn't get anything right, give him a break.
I'm
It's
here
hard to
to
be
get
on the
some
spot.
accolades. I want to be the first one on the Hall of Shame. Let's go.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So first off, it starts off pretty easy. All right. Because people have been complaining that I have been having too hard of a question or my questions are too hard for the
Okay.
guests lately. So I'm going to back off just a bit, guys. All right. I don't
And
know.
then he's gonna say that and then hit me with a real bad one. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go. Okay. Let me get
Uh-huh.
my music here because we have to have the suspenseful music.
Oh yeah. Where's the move?
There we
There it
go.
is. There it is. Yeah, that's it. Okay.
All right, K.Asante.
Mhm.
In the late 80s, early 90s, who was Nintendo's biggest rival?
I mean, that would be Sega.
Correct. See that? You're not at
Darn
the
it.
top of that list.
Man, I wanted to be on that Hall of Shame. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
you're not in that
Continue.
Hall of
Go
Shame.
ahead.
Not just yet.
Yeah.
All right. So, released in North America on October 4th, 1993. Can you name this console manufactured by Panasonic?
Oh my goodness.
1993.
I know the console. I've seen it before, but I don't know its name. The name is not coming to me. I know it. It's
I've owned it and
Panasonic.
I've talked about it here a lot.
I've seen it. I think I've even. It's not the 3DO, I don't think, because the 3DO is later.
It's Panasonic.
It's not the 3DO.
1993.
I know Panasonic made a 3DO. I don't think it is, but I'm going to say it. 3DO. Let's go.
You're right.
I don't think it is.
1993, 3DO. That's when it launched.
I thought that
So
was
you got it.
later.
Nope.
I thought that was
1993.
later. Okay.
No.
Well, there you go. Okay, great.
All right. So you're doing very well. Hey.
Mm.
So
Okay.
number 3, released on the PlayStation in 1996. What city does the very first Resident Evil take place?
Raccoon City?
Look at that.
I mean, that's
Look
an
at
easy
that.
one right there.
Yeah,
Come on now.
but I'm
Now
telling
you're
you.
throwing me low balls here. Come on now. Come on.
No, you didn't. You guessed on that 3DO, but you were right. So,
Sure, yeah, that
Think
was a
about
total
that.
guess on my part, for sure.
all right. Number 4, released in 2016. Can you name the full title of the last Uncharted game? The full title.
Oh, the Uncharted: A Thief's End.
Correct. Look at
I
that.
love Uncharted games. There you go.
That's awesome. I did not know that.
Yes.
What is okay? So this is a subjective question. Music's off.
Mhm.
This is subjective. What is your favorite console of all time and why?
Oh wow, that's a good one. Okay, so my favorite console of all time, and that is solely because of where I was at the time and what it meant to me and what it led to. Because I actually thank that console for a lot of where I am, both professionally in my career and everything else. I do a lot of technical work, and it all started with tinkering, And I see some folks in the chat guessing the Dreamcast. That's a good guess, but it's not the Dreamcast because it was superseded. And before this, it was 100% the Dreamcast. But my number one console was OG Xbox.
Oh, I like
OG,
that answer.
OG
That was a good console. It did a
Yes.
lot.
And the reason why
Yeah, go ahead.
is because it was a hacker's dream. It was a Windows 2000 machine in a living room. And we turned that thing into so many other things. And it led to so many great things that even exist
true.
today because of that little machine. I would say the revolution of your console being a multi-service device is because of that console. Before then, consoles were there just to play your games, and that's what they were there for, and that's it. after that OG Xbox, that thing could play music. We made it play movies. It was doing Netflix type things. You know, it was great. And because of that, it spurred the whole community to head in that direction. So the OG Xbox, 100% for me. Yeah.
That is a fantastic question and fantastic reason. I mean, awesome, man. Awesome. I like hearing that. Let's get back to normal here. We're going to get back to normal. Get back to insanity. That's what this show is about anyway. Anyways, our very first topic here is going to be on the Tokyo Game Show. So,
oh yeah,
I'm sure you've seen the Tokyo Game Show. I had to work, but while I'm at work overnight, mind you, I was able to catch it. So,
oh, I love third shift sometimes, man. I used to do third shift. I loved it.
So it works out great for these shows that are going on overnights. We saw things. We saw a bunch of things that are coming to the Xbox. A lot of JRPGs, and it seems like we got the announcement for Deathloop. Wolong Dynasty. We have the demo out for that now. I mean, it was looking
I still haven't played that yet. I really need to. I really need to. People say it's pretty good.
I was going to pick your brain on that because I tried just a little bit of it. I didn't get much time with it, but from what I've played, it seems very, very promising. There's a lot of it's like when you pick your character, you get to choose sort of a class, and there's like elemental classes. So you have water, fire, and other things. And then there's like also a support class because I guess there's going to be a multiplayer component.
Multiplayer element to it. Yeah. I hear people say that the classes really matter in that game. It's very much almost what's the Capcom, really big Capcom live service kind of game that also has a lot of classes. Fighting big dragons. You cut pieces off of them and make your own. Maybe you make your own armor.
Yeah, maybe the chat.
You guys know what I'm talking about. Come on, guys in the chat. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, help them out.
Yeah, it's at the tip of my tongue. They have movies. Monster Hunter. Thank you so much.
Hunter.
A2.
Okay.
Yeah, it has Monster Hunter elements. They say so. Those classes and the weapons that you choose supposedly matter a lot to your play style, which has always been interesting to me. So I'm looking forward to checking it out.
I see what you're talking about with Monster Hunter, but the way the game feels is more like Neo Souls-ish.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I would expect that from them because that's Team Ninja. I would expect still that original core DNA of what do you call it? Darn it! My brain keeps saying Shinobi, but it's not Shinobi. What do you call it? Ninja Gaiden. Their original Ninja Gaiden. Really, I loved those OG Ninja Gaiden games. Very fast-paced combat.
But the game itself, though, is it's a decent looking game. It looks really nice. I use frame priority because I love my frames, man. I love the high frames in the games now.
Of course. Yes.
But
a man who knows where quality lies for the frames.
Yeah. Oh, you have to go frame quality. You have to. Above everything else, it's frames. That's why when people really push this whole notion, I bet you've heard this a lot. Like a lot of people will say when they look at a game or they see a trailer for a game, they say, that doesn't look next gen. And I'm like, well, what constitutes next gen for you? Because for me, there's so much going on there. There's frame rates, like high frame rates is something that I feel is next gen to the console market anyway.
Yeah.
PC guys are just laughing at us going, we've had that for years.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But so you're absolutely right. So we always have this conversation as well. I always advocate for folks not to take the talking points that the seller sells you on, because that tends to just that's just there to enable you to separate you from your wallet, right? So they convince you of what gen this is, and they convince you of what standard in your head you should be setting, when normally it's just their 1 to 2 is literally to just get you to buy whatever they're selling. And more often than not, there's a lot more in the middle there, right? There's a lot more nuance to the situation. I too, when they were peddling 4K as a thing, it's a very slippery slope, because how far can you go after that, right? Yeah. There's 8K, sure, but there's no 8K content, and nobody will really even care about any of that, right? And I get why that was a thing that people were peddling, because that you can see. It's the same reason why they're peddling ray tracing. Right? It's the only next gen technology you can see with your eye. So that's what they keep pushing.
Yeah, I know.
It's not necessarily the only thing out there.
I know. There's so much more to graphics than resolution. A lot of people push the 4K. And it's like, look, there are games at 1440p. on ultra settings on PC that just blow away a lot of these console
Absolutely.
games at
Yeah.
4K, at full 4K.
Yep.
Resolution is just
Yep.
one of the. And Spinal 11, damn you, sees in their console guys talking frames, shaking my head because that's a
Hey, hey,
PC
hey,
guy
hey,
right
hey,
there.
hey. And for the record, I refuse to be labeled a console gamer or a
Ooh,
PC gamer. I am a
ooh,
gamer. I play
he
wherever the
plays
games
everywhere.
are because whoever he is in the chat, chances are my 3080 beats his,
I,
and that's just the way it
mm,
is.
mm. I don't know what the man has. I don't know what the man has, but that's
No, because people like to go back and forth. Oh, console, this and that.
oh yeah,
Don't
yeah,
worry
yeah.
about any of
Oh,
that
it's
stuff.
just jokes with
Play your
Spinal. It's just
games.
jokes. It's just jokes with him anyway.
Indeed,
He's a good
indeed.
dude. He's a good dude. Welcome to Games Talk Spinal for another week. Yeah, he's been coming through. He's part of the
Oh
Just
yeah,
Gaming podcast that I had on here a couple of
very
weeks
cool.
ago. But yeah, no, PC guy all the way. And I like, look, for me, I can't say that I play anywhere or everywhere because I just don't play PC anymore. I used to
Mm,
back when
okay.
Vanilla WoW was out, World of Warcraft. I used to
Oh
play the
yeah, you are
crap out of that.
OG, indeed. Yes.
Played the crap out of that. And it's a funny thing. When I first when I had my PC, I walked into Best Buy one day and I saw people were lined up and I'm like, what are they lined up for? Like there's no new game coming out or anything that I knew of. And it was World of Warcraft. So I saw they had the little box in their hands and I go, "Ah, I
I
got a
remember when WoW
PC.
had a
Let me
box.
try."
Oh boy.
Yeah, I said, "Let me try it." So I bought
Yeah.
it and I hated it. I was like, "This sucks." I went home and tried to play it. I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, "This is garbage. Everybody's over here killing these little things," and I'm just like, "Nah, I don't want no part of it." And I let
Yeah.
it go. And about a month later, I just said, "Let me try it again." I pulled it out, played it, and then started meeting people, and I just got addicted. It was like
Turned into the
crack.
crack that everybody knows it to be.
Oh my
Indeed.
gosh.
That's right.
Did I ever? Man, it was really, really bad, the addiction. Thank you very much, Hargeet Shiny, for the super chat. I see you, buddy. Um,
Boy, he's salty out there.
what's Hargeet saying? He says, Jim crying, dance move, stitch and line. Ryan disagrees with you, K.Asante. Only PlayStation players are gamers.
Man, every time he makes that riddle, another word gets added. It was lying, crying, dance moves, Ryan. Now it's lying, crying, snitching, dance moves.
He missed one. Loose lips, Ryan.
Oh! It's just
He missed
growing. This
that
is
too.
amazing.
Loose lips. And basically his lips have been very loose, and we're going to get into that
Oh
in a little
boy.
while.
Yes,
But
sir.
yeah,
Yes,
for
sir.
for for well long though, because
Hmm.
this to me was like one of the best things they showed at the
Yeah.
Tokyo Game Show, and we've seen it before. And now we have a demo to actually play it, and I'm really excited for the full experience. I'm definitely going to dive right in because what I'm hearing, and I haven't got much time in it, the demo itself anyway, and things could change, but people are pretty much saying that this game is like Souls or Neo, but not as hard. It's very approachable for a new
Hmm.
player.
Yep.
But it's got its challenges too. So it's not like super easy or anything. Um,
Yeah.
so I like that,
Yeah.
because a lot of people are even describing it as being kind of Sekiro paced, and I'm good with that. I loved the way Sekiro was. I just didn't love the challenge. I got my butt whooped in Sekiro. I don't know
Yeah.
if you played that, but
Yeah.
that
Oh
was the
yeah.
only time I almost broke a controller.
Ah.
The only time. And
Oh
so instead
wow.
of breaking
Okay.
my controller, I deleted the
Mhm.
game.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm
Yeah,
done.
smart move, indeed, indeed. Yes. See, your description of it sounds like exactly as how I would think it would be, because like people forget, and obviously we have short memories. Team Ninja hasn't been has been out of the game for a while, but they have been Souls liking since before FromSoft has been doing that. They've always been kind of middle of the road, not too. They're difficult, but not too ridiculously, punishingly difficult. They don't
Yeah.
start at like 8. They usually start at 5 and then work their way to 10, whereas it seems FromSoft starts at 7. So they've always kind of helped folks get in. That's why I've always liked those Ninja Gaiden games. They
Yeah,
get
me too.
punishing, but they don't start that way. So I'm definitely looking forward to trying this, and I hope this is a return to form for Team Ninja. More competition in that space between them, obviously FromSoft owning the game right now, and then like fledgling companies like those that are bringing out like Lies of P. you have some real
Oh
competition in
yeah.
that space these days. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, I've heard great things about Liza P. I know some people who actually played it at PAX, and
Yeah,
they're telling
yeah,
me that it plays wonderfully, and
awesome. Yeah, I'm
it's going to
looking
be
forward
fun.
to that as well. Yeah.
And in Game Pass, just like Wolong, in Game Pass
Oh
day
yeah.
one.
Oh yeah.
Can't wait.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Game Pass is
My
going to
wallet
be
thanks you.
stacked. Yeah. Oh, trust me, my wallet thanks
That's
Game
right.
Pass all the time.
Indeed.
So at the Tokyo Game Show, we got announcements like we've heard Persona was coming, but the Persona games are coming. They also have some games like Blaze Blue and Guilty Gear
Mhm.
Strive.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah,
those are
yeah.
huge for a lot of people out there.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
by way of Arc
Yeah,
System, of course.
I thought that was
Big.
also very, very interesting. Absolutely, for a long time, and I used to be a huge fighting games guy, and for a
Same
while,
here. Same here.
fighting has kind of, it's left me a little bit because the fun of the fighting game was either in the arcade next to each other talking the smack,
Thank you.
or side by side on the couch, right? So,
Thank you.
although I appreciate the online aspects of it, that has never really attached itself to me because there's no connection to human like that, right? But it's still been a thing. Like I loved what Xbox did with Killer Instinct 1, right? So it was a little sad that it seemed like Sony had taken up all of the air as far as fighting games was concerned. I like what they're doing with it. Sony's always been great at fighting games. And with this one event, it seems like Microsoft is finally going, nope, we're going to keep some of that fighting on our platform, which I for one am happy about. So that's
Oh,
great.
definitely. I've been telling people forever now, and I mean, this is not coming from somebody who's just smarter than anybody else or anything, because I'm sure you say the same thing, and others have said the same thing. But for a service like Game Pass to survive, to keep
Mhm.
surviving, and to keep growing, you have to have variety. Okay,
Yes,
you have to have all
absolutely.
genres in there. That is
Yep.
why going after games like this is a
Yep.
beautiful thing. I mean,
and
y-
and that's why when I hear folks speak about, oh, this game wasn't there, oh, that game wasn't there, oh, why does this Game Pass have Peppa Pig? I'm like, you're not thinking clearly, right? You're not
yeah,
thinking
yeah,
clearly because I love hardcore
facts.
games. I'm a big gamer. I have a huge gaming PC. I have a PS5 and an Xbox. But guess what got more play than anything else the 2 weeks that it was in my house? Peppa Pig. Because I also have a 5-year-old daughter and
Yeah.
a 3-year-old son who love that game. We platinumed that, well, achievement 1,000% that thing twice.
Wow.
Both
Wow.
on both children. They love that thing. So
Hey,
variety, man, it's king, and it'll keep us coming back to that service.
you know what? Honestly, when I hear that, I hear K.Asante platinumed Peppa Pig. No, I'm just kidding. No, you have to have
Hey,
the games for the
no
kids
shame in
too.
my game.
There's
Peppa Pig was good. It was nice.
there
It's very difficult to find a game that's fun that you can play with
with
little
your
kids
kids.
around. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Hey,
Exactly.
if you can find something that excites them, they grab the controller, they're
Yep.
ready to play. Just sitting there with them for 15. I put a picture on the internet. I'm like, these are my children and they're playing games. I was so excited.
Yeah.
It's good. It's
No,
absolutely
that
great. It's great.
that's awesome. Was there anything
Yeah.
about the show, or
Mhm.
anything in the show that stood out to you most?
Honestly, I thought it was like just the whole caliber of it, right? Like you hear a lot of them trying to push into Japan and they really want to make more effort in Japan, and I have given them a
Hmm.
lot of criticism about, come on now, you guys are a 2 sometimes $3 trillion company, seemingly endless resources. How is your localization game so terrible? Like, I don't understand that. And shout out to Mr. Everborn Saga for reminding me of this. He added that point to my argument as well. You are the purveyors of Windows, the most used software with the most variation on software variation on language versions of any software in the world. But are you telling me it took how many years before Skyrim got a Japanese version? Like, come on, guys. Right? I'm happy we're here, right?
Yeah.
But I want that to be more. I want, if you really want to succeed there, every game should come with as many versions in as many languages as necessary. It didn't make a big blip on the radar, but Deathloop's trailer in Japanese with the cool black exploitation 70s music that almost had the Bond-esque thing, but in Japanese, I got a thrill out of that. I thought that was real cool.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
need to do more of that. More showing the community all over the world that, hey, we're here for you, not just come and see our American wares. You know what I'm saying? Like,
True.
I think they're doing a really good job, and this was one of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've criticized them recently that it seems like they're at every show, and when they come, they don't show much. Right? I said that at Gamescom, and then they showed more than I thought they would, and I was like, hey, pleasant surprise. And then I said that this time, and they're showing me more. So I hope this is them. You know, every time they have a show, it's worth watching. There's something new. It may not be earth-shattering news, but it's good stuff that's moving the ball forward, and I think it's great. You know,
For sure. I mean, and a lot of the show, there wasn't much for me myself personally, but there were a few gems sprinkled in that was, you know, that I'm looking forward to. But as far as like the whole entire show, for me, it wasn't directed towards me, but I could see the audiences that it was directed towards,
Sure. Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's
yeah.
an awesome thing. And you
Yeah.
were speaking on Deathloop just a few minutes ago with the announcement that Deathloop is coming, what, this Tuesday, I believe?
Yeah, yeah, I
Um,
think so. The 20th. Yeah.
yeah. So are you excited for Deathloop?
I played Deathloop. I've
Oh, you
played
did?
Deathloop on PC. Yes, I
Okay.
when Deathloop first came out, obviously it was the price it was on PlayStation, and at the time I think it was Green Man Gaming or something like that, having a great deal. I think it was $40, brand new. I was like, oh yeah, on Steam, it's mine, right? So
Mhm.
played it on PC. Uh, Forgive me, and this is where people just, first of all, they accuse me of being a console heathen. Now they're going to accuse me of being a PCMR dude.
Oh,
If I have a choice, I tend to play on PC because it, one, tends to be cheaper, and two, because of my rig tends to be better looking than my consoles.
I can't
So
fault you for any of
you
that,
know, it is what it
honestly.
is, right? So
Honestly.
it tends to be cheaper, right? It's cheaper,
Yeah.
$70. So I played it there. I will tell you, the game is great. It's awesome. It has a very specific kind of style, right? If you like that style, it wasn't like amazing to everybody. Not everybody loved it, right? But I loved what they were going for, right? I loved the back and forth between the two, the protagonists and antagonists that were in there, right? I honestly think that game just got mixed up in console war BS that people go back and forth with. In a vacuum, just by playing it by itself, you'll have a darn good time with that game. It's like a people puzzle. It's
Yeah.
really cool, and you know, if people just get their minds off of all the, oh, it was here first and now it's there and this and that, play it. You will enjoy it. It's pretty fun. You know.
Yeah. I've got a super chat here from
Mm.
Cerebra L'assassin. Um,
Huh?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how you say
Cerebral
that.
Assassin.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh man, I'm so dumb. Cerebral assassin. Yeah. Okay. I apologize for butchering that. I'm sorry. Reading is hard. Have you played any games announced at Tokyo? Have you? Have you played any of them?
Honestly, not. I haven't had a chance to play anything new. Well, no, that's not true. That's not true. Technically, Metal Hellsinger was announced at Tokyo Game
Yes,
Show,
it was.
and I played that. I played the hell out of that game so far. It's great. It is awesome. As I said
And
at the
Deathloop.
top, and
Yeah,
Deathloop as
yeah,
well. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm a musician at heart, and Metal Hellsinger takes some really interesting styles, really interesting ideas, and puts them in gaming, and it's just so cool. Imagine if you haven't played it. Imagine, I'm sure, played Doom or Doom Eternal literally was headbanging while they were playing it because the music
Mhm.
made you do that, right? In
Yeah.
this game, you have to do that in order to progress further into the game.
Wow.
It's such an
That's weird.
interesting concept. It's so cool. People should play it. Also on Game Pass. You know, so yes, I did play that, and I am planning on. I've played Danganronpa before. I played that on PS4. I'll try it again.
Yeah.
Nino Kuni, I haven't put enough time into. I totally want to do that. I think I played one of the Nino Kunis on Vita. I loved that. It looks like a Studio Ghibli movie. It's really really cool. Very awesome art style. You know, and it also tends to not be too hard R or too adult, so I can kind of play that with the kids
Yeah.
around. So I might give Nino Kuni a shot as well. So
Yeah, shout out to Capono 5150 in the chat. He says, so nobody bought Deathloop because they knew it was coming to Game Pass? Question mark. I'm sure a lot of people bought Deathloop. Not
yeah.
everybody is subscribed to Game Pass, and not everybody that's subscribed to Game Pass doesn't buy the games that are within Game Pass. I actually know quite a few people who buy the games that are in Game Pass as well. If they really like the
I
game,
do.
they
Yeah.
buy them.
Mhm.
They support them even more. And this notion that they're not devs aren't supported because they don't buy a game that's within Game Pass is just silly, because they are being supported by just playing the game within Game Pass. They have been
Yep.
paid, you know, for their work already. Game Pass being their game being put in Game Pass is something that's done after the fact.
Yeah.
It's not really your dollar or your $15 or your $10 isn't going to the devs. Okay, that's not what's happening here. So
No, it's basically a Spotify model, except it's better than the Spotify model. You know, they estimate, and obviously we've heard there are many different models that have been allowed on
yeah,
Game Pass, but by and large, they estimate how much they want to make to feel whole, whatever that may be, in addition to whatever they potentially could have lost in sales, right?
yeah,
The owner of the subscription service, this being Microsoft, gives that to them, and then most likely there's another deal on the back end depending on how many other active users play it. So by and large, they'll be good. You know, they'll be
yeah, and
good, and that's not stopping them from selling the game as well. So all that is just that's uninformed narrative. Yeah.
yeah, and he goes on to say, right, developers are get paid. The risk is on the publisher. Well, it's not much of a risk, especially a year after the game has already originally
Yeah.
launched on another
Yeah.
platform, on a competing platform,
Mm-hmm.
also on PC, by the way, where
Yes.
it was bought up on both platforms, and
Mm-hmm.
also they are getting paid accordingly by putting their game in Game Pass as well. So there's not much risk factor there for the publisher.
Yeah.
Again,
And
another silly
actually,
thing that people like to bring up.
well, and finally, the point that actually nails it all home, if you think about it, is that is a very salient argument to make if they weren't first party, which they are, right? If they
True,
are third
true.
party, then you're worried about their next bread. They are not third party. They are basically now there to
That
fill
part.
Game Pass. So nothing they do or don't do matters to your wallet because that's their purpose there, right? They're not doing
Facts.
the PlayStation thing.
K.Asante
Right?
just
So it's
laying
just
it down. Laying
it's a
it
different
down.
equation, you know.
I love it. Okay, so another thing they sort of towards the end talked about is that
Mhm.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey is coming to Game
Yeah,
Pass,
yeah.
which in my
Mhm.
opinion is one of the best next to 2. I love Assassin's
Okay.
Creed 2.
So yours
Um,
is 2 and then
AC
Odyssey.
Odyssey. And it's
Mine
such a
is
departure,
2
right?
and then Origins.
And again, a departure, right?
Although I did put like 110 to 200 hours into both Origins and Odyssey. So I'm in the bag for both of them, you know.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
no, I'm with you. Yeah.
Origins was fantastic, and I think
Mhm.
Bayek is my favorite protagonist out of
Mhm.
all of the Assassin's Creed.
100% the reason why I like Origins more than
The
anything else because of
problem I
Bayek.
have with Origins, and I don't care if I
Mm.
spoil it for people, but at the end,
Is
the
the
ending,
ending.
I
Yeah.
cannot
Yeah.
stand what happens to Bayek.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I'm
cannot
not a fan of the
stand
ending.
that at all. But aside
Mhm.
from that, Bayek is number one in my book when it comes to Assassin's Creed.
Absolutely, yeah.
Amazing,
I
amazing
thought he was the
protagonist.
first really full flesh protagonist. Although
Facts.
I will say close second is it Connor from Black Flag? He was also very well fleshed out as well.
But I
No,
can't do
well,
Black
the
Flag.
game
I hate
the
the
game
boating
itself, people
aspect.
like or not like, but the characters, the way they were well fleshed out, and the way they felt like real humans. I thought Connor was one of the first ones that felt like an actual human that you
I
inhabit.
didn't
You know?
play enough of him because
Okay,
Black Flag turned me off. I'm not
you weren't
much
a
of a
boating
fan of
guy.
boating games. Okay, anytime
Sure,
you're stuck in
sure.
a boat, so I will not be playing Skull and Bones. I didn't like Sea of Thieves. I'm
Okay.
not a water person. Like I
You're not
don't like being
about
on a
that
boat.
not
Nah,
about
I'm
that
not about that life.
that pirate stuff.
But
Understood.
you know, a lot of people are, and they do like
Yeah.
the boating aspect. It's one of the things I don't like about the Assassin's Creed games is when you have to get
Mm,
in the boat and have to do those battles. Now, I don't mind going in a boat from point A to point B and just getting somewhere to land,
mm,
but I
mhm.
don't like having to do the ship battles and everything like that. It's just it
Yeah.
bores me. It's not for me.
I can see that. I can see
But
that. To some people, the animus was the sticking point. To others, it was the boating thing. You know, it is what it is.
oh, and Animus too kind of pisses me off sometimes. It's like, do I
Yeah.
really have to go back to that archaeologist and run around and look for? I don't want to do
Yep.
that.
Yep.
Let me
It's
kick ass
almost
with
like
Bayek. You
it's
know?
almost uncharted light for a moment. You know.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And not in a good way. And concerning the ID at Xbox show, because there was a show there as
True.
well.
True. Yeah.
The only thing of real note that I saw there, for me anyway, was Valheim.
Mm,
Valheim is coming to
yes.
Game Pass, of course, and now, of course,
Yes.
that's a big,
Big
critically
deal on
acclaimed,
PC. Yeah.
not a AAA game at all, but you know, it's a
No.
big
No. No.
critically acclaimed little indie game, and
Hmm.
it's coming to Game Pass, and it
Yeah.
does interest me. So Other than that, though, did you see anything
Did they
at
say that was
ID at
coming to
Xbox?
Game Pass on both PC and console, or just straight PC
I
for now?
believe it's both. I believe it's
Oh,
both.
awesome! That's great.
I'm
That's
not
great. That's
sure, but I believe it's
okay.
both.
Yeah, we,
Um,
we could verify that, but if it is, that means it'd be the first time on the console, and it's coming day and date into Game Pass. That's a pretty big get. That's awesome. That's
yeah.
great.
Do you? Was there anything else at ID at Xbox that you saw that
No,
interested
not
you?
really. You
Yeah.
know, and to be frank with you, the ID at Xbox, I love ID titles. I am a big indie guy. If you know me, I'm big into indies. The idea that one dude is like in the lab just cranking away at stuff, that'll get me to look at your game before anything else. I love
Yeah.
the indie space. It's just a format that Microsoft has agreed to work with Twitch on. It gets better every year, but it's still a very low bar to clear. And I from the small drip snippets I saw this year, it didn't seem to be too much better. It was roughly the same. You know, it was what it was.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
I understand completely what you're saying. I've got a super chat here from Spinal 11. My PC MR brother over here, or yours, I should say,
Mhm.
K.Asante, your PC brother here. He says, so what do you guys think about Ubisoft employees not wanting to work on the feudal era game due to director of the game? Oh, I did not hear about this. Did you hear about this? They don't like him for the treatment of his employees, apparently.
Yeah,
I did not hear
I didn't
this.
want to really, I haven't really commented too much about it because I kind of wanted to read
Now,
the
this
more
is the
in-depth.
Odyssey team.
Yeah.
This is the good team, you know, in my opinion. Odyssey team is the best.
Yeah, yeah. You know, well, okay. It depends on which AC fan you ask, right?
I really
Some
love
fans
Odyssey,
think
so
that, yeah, some fans think that AC Odyssey is when AC lost its way. I would say to thread that needle and give both parties what they want. I would say that possibly when it comes to that, UB probably should have been a bit more bold and a bit more brave and just like left the AC moniker off of it, or maybe AC Presents, right? Rather than calling it an AC game, because what it started as is it's definitely not where it is now. And I like where it is now more than where it started. I'll be honest with you. I like the open world,
me
you
too.
know,
Me too.
the deep historical lore and all of that. I enjoy that stuff. But to those who say that, hey, AC is not what it is now, and it used to be, you know, AC1 and AC2, that's a good argument. Maybe AC Presents open world something else. You know what I mean?
That's not to say
Rather
I
than
won't play
making it
Mirage
exactly
though. I'll definitely play
exactly,
Mirage.
exactly, 100%. Yes, I like to basically thread the needle to make myself clear. It's basically like what do you call it? The Fast and Furious franchise. For those who
Yeah.
watch the show, that watch the movies, you know, they aren't where they started from, but you still kind of understand it's all part of the same lineage. That's
Yeah.
how I equate Assassin's Creed. You know.
All right. So, real quick, I know people are going to want me to talk about this next topic. It's not really a topic per se, but I will ask you after I say what I have to say here. But I've spoken at length about 343
Mhm.
on many episodes and about Halo Infinite and the state of Halo. And despite what anybody else or what I may think of Bonnie Ross's departure from Xbox, um, it really doesn't matter in the end. It's irrelevant. The only thing that's relevant here is the fact that there has been a management change
Oh
within
yeah, big change.
343. And other than that, I wish her family well. I wish her well, you know, and I wish the Halo franchise well. Of
Mhm.
course, I want to see that get better.
Yep.
But other than that, there's not really much more to say other than I'm glad that there's management changes there. And it's obvious that it's apparent that Bonnie's jobs that she was taking care of, she was spread too thin, in my opinion, obviously. And
Yep.
and
Absolutely.
it caused an issue there because now three
Yeah.
people are taking her place. So other than
Mhm.
that, do you have anything to add?
No. I think I completely agree with you wholeheartedly. You know, a lot of virtual ink and a lot of voices have made their opinions known on the whole 343 situation. And just so y'all know, right off the dome, right off the top, I am one of the biggest Halo fans you'll meet, and I tend to be a single player gamer. So
Same.
although I'm the biggest Halo fan, I will also be the biggest Halo fan that tends to play the campaigns more than I do the multiplayer. So,
Same.
you know, But Halo is being special to me. If you get me to play any multiplayer, it tends to be the Halo multiplayer. So I get the criticism. I get all of that. Where we are now, hopefully, will bring about a better future for Halo, right?
Yeah.
Myself and Everborn have been speculating that maybe this stuff, all this stuff happening, may lead Microsoft to potentially letting Halo rest for a while, since they now have many other AAA high budget, console caliber franchises to play with Activision Blizzard once, if and when that clears. So you may see Halo go exit stage left for a while, but I hope that when it comes back eventually, it is the promise that they originally gave it. My only criticism with Halo is I love it. People consider it a boomer shooter. I am proud to say I will continue to play my old boomer shooter. The mistake they made. Don't make it a service game.
Don't make it a service game. Okay, because you kind of cut out there for a second. You there?
I think we lost. Yeah. I'm back. Yeah. Okay. See, unfortunately, the net connections. Forgive me. Apologies. I just saw my thing went purple for a second.
Yeah. So you were saying that what was the one unfortunate thing about Halo?
Oh yeah, the one unfortunate thing for me was that they made it a live service game. Had you not put that on there,
thank you.
The game would have been the game and love all these years. Maybe you could add more content to it, like they did Halo 5, 4, 3. They've been doing this for years. The minute you call it something, people expect something, and now your criticisms have to come. And it is what it is. I do wish her the best. I hope that she doesn't leave the gaming environment. I would love to hear something like, oh, and she has started a new studio. That would be awesome. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah, I echo your sentiment 100% when you're talking about it being live service. Of course, the multiplayer component is a live service thing, but when we're talking about the live service aspect, we're talking more about the campaign, because you and I are really into the campaigns. That's something that I didn't like hearing originally, the 10-year plan thing. I was like, no, don't do that, because then you're going to be stuck, sort of like Bungie was stuck for so long and kind of is still. I know they left the old consoles behind now, but we'll see what they do in the future with Destiny. With Halo and 343, it's like, okay, you've chosen a certain art direction that you're now stuck with. If you do continue with this 10-year plan. Now, you may love it. Some people may hate it, but it is what it is. This is what Halo Infinite looks like. And the story and everything, this, to me, I wish they wouldn't have done that, because now that they've got new management there too, they could have just said, hey, you know what? Halo Infinite, let's put a cap in it. Let's do Halo 6 or Halo 7. Whatever you want.
Let's offshoot or something. Yeah.
And it's, who's to say that they won't do that? I've heard Slip Space Engine is a chore to work on. I don't know. I'm not a developer, but this is what I hear.
Absolutely.
I don't know. But again, I don't want to make it a big, long conversation. I just want to say that now that there's new management there, good luck. Good luck to Halo.
Yeah. The only thing I will end it on is I would say those who are Halo super fans, hearing all of this is going on, and as soon as I said that, I saw the man One Bad Mother show up. Halo super fan number one himself, and he knows this. He'll advocate for this. Keep your heads cool. Cooler heads need to prevail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because this has happened doesn't mean that Halo turns around next week. You know what I mean? It's going to take some time. Cool heads, maybe pay attention elsewhere, so the paint dries while you're not looking.
Okay.
But yeah, I look forward to seeing what they do at 343.
Same. Let's go ahead and move on, and let's talk about PlayStation CEO Jim Ryan crying again, apparently.
Oh boy.
In a recent article from GameIndustry.biz, Mr. Ryan quoted, he was saying he welcomes the announcement that the CMAs, that's the Competition and Markets Authority, that are looking into the ABK deal with Microsoft. He welcomes the fact that they're looking further into this deal. They're, under a microscope now. Seems like that's what Microsoft's under now. And Jim is just, out there just, I'll pull up the quote. Okay. So this is a quote I want to really delve into. He says here, by giving Microsoft control of Activision games like Call of Duty, this would have major negative implication for gamers and the future of the gaming industry. The firm said in a statement to industry.biz, we want to guarantee PlayStation gamers continue the highest quality gaming experience, and we appreciate the CMA's focus on protecting gamers. So Jim is really focused on protecting PlayStation gamers. Let's be honest. That's what it is. That's
Yes.
the focus. And it seems that's the focus of the CMAs
And
as well
even
by
and
going through
even
this.
that, I think you even that I could argue that he's not really protecting PlayStation gamers. He's protecting PlayStation's bottom line,
Oh,
not
of course.
necessarily the gamers.
Okay,
You
but he's alluding to that, and he's trying to
know.
persuade you that that's what he's trying to do.
Mhm,
But in
mhm,
the
mhm.
end, you're right. It's the bottom line that he's trying to
Yeah.
protect. It's crazy to
Absolutely.
me. I
Yeah.
mean, what when you read this, like, what's going through your head? Like,
So honestly, for me, and I think I'm taking a little bit of a different approach on this one than most
go
folks.
ahead.
I think it's hilarious. I love it. It's hilarious. It's fun. It's really, really fun for me to watching all this stuff unfold. Because to me, I think two things specifically about PlayStation. They're a doing Jim specifically doing exactly what he's supposed to be doing. If he wasn't doing this, I would be very, very surprised.
I've
Right?
told other
I
people the
always
same
say
thing,
this.
by the way. Even
Mhm,
though it is
mhm.
it looks weak. Let me say that. But what else is an executive supposed to
But
do in a
here's the
situation like
thing
this?
about that, and let me bring up my theory. Here's the thing about that: PlayStation doesn't care how it looks
Mm.
because PlayStation has spent a lot of time training you and me to know exactly what to expect from them. Actually, Microsoft has as well, to their own detriment, right? Every time they do these aggressive things, every time they nickel and dime you, every time you get the, oh, you paid for the TV, but now give me the $10 for the remote thing that they do, right? They're teaching you what to expect from them, right? My co-host, when the whole Forbidden West thing was coming up, and it was you could buy the place. It was the last PS4 version that could be transitioned to PS5, $10 less. And I was advocating on our show, hey, people, remember to buy that. That's the last time you're going to get that deal. He was like, nah, man. I'll just buy the $70 version. You know how PlayStation do. They'll probably find a way of making you pay for it later anyway. You see what I'm saying? They train the consumer to know what to expect from them. So in this specific instance, I think they're just using the political capital they've gained, right? They're going, look, it'll look a certain way to the consumer, but they know what to expect from us. We kick people in the teeth for our gamers. We're here to do greatness.
Uh-oh. He must be cutting out again.
He's just cutting out. I don't know. His internet. It's bad.
I don't know, guys. K.Asante is not here. You're back. I think you're back. Maybe?
Oh,
You're
are we
back?
back?
Yep, you're back.
I thought I lost it. Oh no.
You're back. You're back. Is he back? Uh-oh.
Damn
He's
it.
not back. There he is.
Uh-oh. The McDonald's internet is not working. Well, I just want to, while he's trying to get settled, I just want to remind everyone that this is the same CEO, Jim Ryan, that makes this, same kind of deals. He buys up studios too. I mean, sure, it's not on the level of the ABK, but he makes a lot of third-party deals where he takes away IP from Xbox and other platforms. So it's hypocritical at the very least to pretend to act like this and get upset over this deal. I know it's going to hurt their bottom line. And I know as an executive, as Ryan Landis was saying here, that, what else is he's supposed to do? That it would look weaker. In your opinion, Ryan, it would look weaker if he didn't say anything at all. I don't agree. I think it looks really weak to say something. But, oh, hold on. I think he's coming back. Let me see if I can get him in here. Are you back? Hello? Hello? Are you back?
Can you hear me?
Are you
I
back?
am. Can you
There
hear
you
me?
are. There you are.
Absolutely
Okay.
terrible.
So,
I'm so sorry. This is so terrible.
so I was just
Ah,
telling him as you were trying to get back that this
mhm,
is the same CEO that's been very hypocritical, taking away
mhm,
IP from Xbox as well, and not ever giving a damn about the Xbox gamer. So,
mhm.
again, it just points to him worrying about his bottom line. It's
Well,
it's
okay.
simple.
So what I was trying to say was people, the reason why I think this is being taken, and yeah, everything everybody's saying, I don't disagree with it. My only thing is, what else should he do? This is his job, right? This
Yeah.
is what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to advocate for his side, for his shareholders, whatnot, right? I just think that it's very funny. He's basically, shucking and jiving, as it were, right?
Oh, there
And
it
it's just
is.
unfortunate. It's just unfortunate that he has such a huge community of people who basically pay such a close attention to the balls and strikes that as soon as he says something, people laugh and point and go, "You're lying," because in most industries you don't have that, right? You don't have the.
Uh-oh. I don't think it's going to work very well there. Ryan Landius, I see your question. Not question, but you're saying millions of COD gamers are on PlayStation, and then Jim Ryan says nothing. That's weak, though. I get what you're saying, that he's trying to speak up for these COD gamers, but he's really not. He's speaking up for his bottom line, his company's bottom line. It's not truly about the gamer. It's about the money. COD is huge. It's a huge money maker over there. I get it, but it's not a good look, man. For a CEO to keep like complaining, it doesn't look good, man. Like, I picture this. If the situation was on the other foot, I don't see Phil Spencer doing this much crying. I don't. And I'm not saying that as being a fanboy, saying Phil Spencer's better or whatnot, because I could care less about these corporations and stuff, okay? But at the end of the day, it's just how I see it. I don't think Phil would be crying like this. I just don't. There's something about him that... Are you back? K.Asante?
I am back. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Absolutely. Yes. I'm so sorry. I'm going to go and murder some ISPs later. And I'm saying that on video. So I'm just kidding. Absolutely. Yes. I'm going to yell at them. No murder.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Continue.
Yeah. So,
yes.
So this situation, I just think it's silly. It's just more of the same from Jim. I'm protecting the gamer. And as somebody said in my chat, he's protecting the COD gamer, and he's really not. He's protecting his bottom line.
No. Yeah,
that's it. It's about money here. It's a corporation we're talking about. And I get it. Even when Phil Spencer talks about his gamers, we see through the lines. It's about their bottom line as well. We understand.
The thing what I think is so fun about it, though, is when it comes to Phil Spencer and them, they have realized that what you want in order to separate you from your money is at least the perception of truth. Right? Yeah, it may not all be 100%, balls and strikes as it were, but by and large,
Oh, he's cutting out again. Man.
See, they don't want to let me talk, man.
Yeah, I understand what you're getting at, though. It's the perception we have of Phil versus Jim Ryan. Not that we've never caught Phil in saying anything that was untrue, because that's not true either. The VR was being promised for Xbox, and look what happened there. And not that I don't care about VR anyway, but for those that do care about VR, that was a major thing for them. They were upset at Phil for just backing out on that.
I was upset. I love VR.
Yeah.
I do.
But when we look at Jim Ryan, I mean, come on, how many times is it going to be with him? He talked about how, they're all about the new generation of consoles. And, they were turning their back on the old consoles. Their new games weren't going to be there. And then all of a sudden, their games are there. You're going to be able to play God of War, Ragnarok over there. You've been able to play Horizon Forbidden West over there. You've been able to play pretty much all their games over there that's come out this generation. Most of them, anyway. And I just think it's funny that, people will still sit there and pretend that this guy is for the gamer. He's for his bottom line. That's just it. Boba Fett Gaming says it's also not Phil's job to provide for the PlayStation fan base, and you're 100% right, Boba. It's not his job to do that. Ryan's now he says that Jim is just playing the game. It's the money. I agree, but of course he says something. Yeah, I get it. Hargeet says already had that with Bungie. Did Jim send a signed offer to Phil about Bungie? I doubt it. You're right about that, but Bungie themselves made Sony, and this is why I like to pick out bad deals. I think the Sony deal with Bungie, not that necessarily that it's a bad deal. I just think that some of it is bad. the fact that they paid so much for Bungie and they're not getting total exclusivity from everything Bungie is crazy to me. But they do have access to Bungie and their team
And
there,
their
and they're going to be able to
expertise.
build
Yep.
great things there with Bungie.
Yep.
Because I
Yep.
was going to bring it up to you. I think that they could build a quality shooter if you take Bungie and you
Oh,
take Guerrilla
absolutely.
Games, and you put them together. You can have a
Yeah.
fantastic, realistic shooter.
100%, and that is the reason why I say they're just playing the game. When you hear Jim Ryan talk, it's funny, because he's basically throwing his own developers under the bus with every
Yeah.
word. But you and I both know if they really wanted to in the lab, they're probably busy right now trying to rekindle SOCOM or something else. And of course, they have the experience of a Bungie to help them do that.
And-
so, I think Jim is doing his job. He's slow walking. He's low balling. He's talking a lot of smack, right? He's talking a lot of stuff out of both sides of his what. And in the background, he's going, they gave us 5 years. Let's see if we can get a little bit more out of them. In the meantime, y'all get busy on the SOCOM. Let's get this thing going. He's doing
and
his
that's
job.
the thing. Phil doesn't have to even give him 5 years. He doesn't have to give him that extra 3 years.
Yes, and Phil giving him that time is not out of the kindness of his heart either. Because if he does that, right, if all of a sudden 2024 were to come and they go, oh yeah, Band-Aid ripped out, we're done, then the CMA can go, see, you guys are hurting consumers during their purchasing decision. You allowed consoles to be purchased and now you're taking it away from them. So what is Microsoft doing? They're looking good by saying, we're giving you 3 extra years. In that 3 extra years, add that to the 2024 they already have. What will that be? That'll be the next gen console time. By then, you're making a new purchase decision.
I don't even think
and then we can tell you what's good.
Yeah, see, there you go. There's where I was going to go. I think that, look, they're covering their butts for their next purchase. Mm-hmm. That is all Phil is doing here. Because we're going to get into this right now. Phil Spencer was just interviewed recently by CNBC, and he was asked if they would pause on acquisitions. And Phil basically responded with they would never pause, stating that the market is so highly competitive, and mentioned Tencent and even PlayStation, saying how PlayStation's a bigger company than Xbox, and they're constantly investing. So they're not going to put their investments on pause. This is exactly why. This is why they're adding that 3-year extension. Because I was wondering that too, but that's the conclusion I came to as well.
They need to be very, very, I hear a lot of folks talk to me about why is it that we want to see competition? Why is it Microsoft can't be as aggressive as Sony is? Because I forget who made that analogy, but I still think it's so apt. It's the amoeba versus the atom bomb. The amoeba can afford to be aggressive. The atom bomb cannot afford to be as aggressive as the amoeba. You understand what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So no matter how much you want Microsoft to be aggressive, they have to be the one to send out that letter. They have to be the one that goes, oh, we're playing this game with marbles. You don't have any? Let me give you some of my marbles.
Yeah.
Every time you see that, you think, oh, they're just being, the nice guy. No, because they're the biggest man in every room. And if they're walking around smacking things out of your hand, every single regulatory body will be looking at them with a side eye. They cannot afford that. So they have to mea culpa. They have to be nice. They have to send, Apple their last check before they die. And now Apple's ruling the roost. You know what I mean? It's just how they are. It's what they do. So I think both parties are playing their position rather well here. What I thought about all this was, Jim was kind of playing a little bit of a chicken here, and it may not ultimately work out in his favor, because if he could have gotten them to give him a mea culpa, maybe put it in writing, oh yeah, consent decree, we'll keep it. We'll make sure we give you the first right to after 3 years to renegotiate with us. That would have been that. Move on, right? But if you wait long enough and you let the deal lapse, or the CMA's time frame lapse, now you're getting Brad Smith and the rest of them, the lawyers, out the dugout, and there are some secrets in there that you, PlayStation, don't want shared, right? Every time they've gone to court with all of this back and forth, we learned some very outlandish, interesting things. And I suspect that here we are, poised to learn more outlandish, interesting things, because he was hoping that he'd just get a consent decree real quick to kind of keep the milk train going. Now we're gonna see ourselves in a world where we'll probably won't see this thing end until 2023. But boy, the airing of the dirty laundry is going to be pretty interesting, I suspect.
It will be. And during this interview with Phil, he was also asked if he would be raising the prices of the series consoles, to which he said that he said this exactly. He says, in a time when our customers are more economically challenged and uncertain than ever, we don't think it's right at this point to be raising prices on our consoles, which is a classy thing to say. And a perfect thing to say in our time. And exactly what a lot of people were saying when they were talking about PlayStation increasing their prices, about this economically challenging time. You know, we're all sitting here frustrated.
Yep.
We're all having to deal with inflation and recession and stuff that's going on. And it hurts, man. The pump alone, the gas pump alone is killing us right now. And
Indeed, absolutely.
And to buy a console and to expect to pay even more for that console, especially if you've been saving up for one, would just be asinine at this time.
Ridiculous, you know, unprecedented, as they say. Never happened before, where technology increases instead of decreasing in price over time, right? It should decrease, it should increase in time over decades, right? Because it's an heirloom at that point, not because, oh, all of a sudden we think we can get more for it. But, you know, much like everything else that we've been discussing today, it's basically how much can they get away with it, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a metric somewhere about how many people actually bought PS5s at scalpers and what percentage of increase that was.
Yeah.
You know, people always notoriously claim that Microsoft is very, very data driven. I'm sure there are data departments at Sony going, how many of our customers paid scalpers? They paid how much? Right? Come on now.
Yeah,
You
Ryan
know,
Landis in the chat says, well, the Facebook headset went up $100. Well, that Oculus,
which is also
2
unprecedented.
also went up too. But
absolutely unprecedented.
It's crazy when you see technology do that. It really is, because it is something that we don't normally see. However, in the game console world, I don't think I've ever seen that. Ever.
That's never
2
happened.
years later. 2 years later is when we usually see a price reduction, because they start to produce these consoles in a cheaper way, which, by the way, PlayStation has. They have a new one now, a new console.
We've seen the revision.
Cheaper.
That's right. Yeah. We've seen the revision. And instead of passing the savings on, they're going yada, 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 economic hardship, yada, 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 price increase. And for those, and I'm literally, every show I go on, I will make this clear. For those who say that, you know, and we feel the pain as our international brothers do, brothers and sisters. For those who say, oh, America didn't get the price increase, go try to find you a $4.99 PlayStation. Let me know how that works out for you.
Oh,
if you don't find one with a game that you don't want for at least $4.50, you're not finding one at all. They've increased it everywhere. They just knew how to do that here without making the pitchforks come out.
Yeah, I said that as well last week. I said, look, in North America, you cannot find a PlayStation by itself. It is bundled with Horizon Forbidden West. So good luck. Like that's not happening. The Andrew 13, thank you for the $2. He says, got that dealer internet, K.Asante.
Yeah, man. I don't know what happened. I've been stable for a long, long time. I mean, super stable, gigabit up and down. Today, actually, as recently as since Friday, it's been, you know, it's been ridiculous. I apologize, folks. I apologize.
Don't worry. It's good right now. Let's just hope it stays that way. What is this? Or Dorian Gray? Well, how do you say that name? Some of you guys have some crazy.
Dorian Gray.
Dorian Gray, is it?
Yeah.
That A trips me out. It runs right into the E.
I know.
Dorian Gray. All right. I don't buy that Ryan is supposed to go out of and throw his studios under the bus on their abilities.
Sure.
What do you think about that question?
No, you know what? That's a good statement to make. It's a good statement to make, and to that I call your attention to Square, right? When Square was throwing Crystal Dynamics and the entire Western Division under the bus, I was like, watch out! They're not doing that just to be mean. They know what they're saying. Yeah. They are priming the pump. They're not. I'm sure somebody even called somebody else and go, look here, man. I know what I said was not cool, but trust me, I'm saying it for a reason. They're not talking to you. You know what I mean? Exactly. They're throwing them under the bus for a strategic reason. And I'm sure even the who you call it, the Bungie folks are like, did they just insult us? And then you get a call from Sony going, yeah, we know what we said. Trust us. Just be easy. We good. You know what I'm saying? It's not that. It's that they're being strategic. That's all this is, right? It's not really, they're not being earnest in their statements. They're being strategic.
Yeah. They're protecting their bottom line and their investors.
Yeah.
Period. Italian Clowns, thank you very much, man, for the $10 super chat. He says, "Great show." Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it.
Yes.
Shout out to the 4 guys at Quarters right there.
Indeed.
Yeah. So basically, I want to close that topic out and talk about something real quick before we end the show here. State of Play happened last week as well. I know we discussed the Tokyo Game Show earlier, but that was not the best show in town, in my opinion. That goes to the PlayStation State of Play. I thought it was incredible. I really liked what they showed there, especially a game I'm going to throw up on the screen right here with, I liked what I saw from Team Ninja in Rise of Ronin.
Yes.
Look, this is something that they've got exclusive over there from Team Ninja. Team Ninja is just firing on all cylinders right now. With Wolong,
they decided to show up,
and now this Ronin game, it looks incredible to me. This is another game that kind of looks like a Ghost of Tsushima type game, which I'm all for. Like, let's do it. 1863 Japan here is man, this game just looks good to me. This was definitely a standout. They showed some other games that I do want to try, but I wouldn't pay $70 for. There was that what was the name of that Blade game? It was originally Project Eve. Anyways,
Blade, Stella Blade.
Stella
I think
Blade.
what it's called. Stella Blade. Yeah.
It looks interesting. But not $70 interesting to me as of yet. But I do want to try that game. But
that
this
Tekken
one,
8 reveal was awesome looking. Ooh, it looked good.
Yeah, Tekken 8 was there for a lot of people. Again, not a big fighting fan anymore, but I can definitely appreciate them bringing back Tekken as well. That was kind of a surprise for a lot of people. A lot of people love
and
that.
this Like a Dragon Inshin was also very cool.
Like a Dragon.
There was some really good. I completely agree with you. There's a reason why they are who they are in the environment that they are in, right? We may have conversations about potentially, how they respond in the environment and whatnot, but at the end of the day, they are here, leading the environment because their offerings are great, right? Their offerings are second to none, and whenever they show up well. So I'm not surprised this show was as good as it was. And I completely agree with you. It was absolutely awesome.
Yeah. And of course, everybody. Best of show, Ragnarok. God of War Ragnarok at the end.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Holy
100%.
crap.
Now,
this is probably one of the best trailers I've ever seen. That's how
Let me ask you a question about that. Fonz. What is your thoughts on this whole it's a DLC thing?
Okay. So people have thrown it out there at me and accused me of saying that I said it was DLC, which I never have. With the way the game looks on the first trailer that they showed way back when, it looked like it could have been DLC in the way it looks. Not saying that it was DLC at all, but it looked like that, right? Because they're using a lot of the same assets. It looked a lot of the samey, kind of looked like God of War 2018. But what they showed in this trailer here, I'm sorry, they added mechanics. They added to the graphic fidelity. You can tell the characters are just so much better. No longer do we have just different colored trolls to fight.
They added a lot more enemy variety. Yep, absolutely.
Yes.
Yep.
So there's a lot going on there. I was really impressed with what this trailer did, what it showed, and what it said, what Kratos said during the trailer, what Atreus said during the trailer. It was all just really beautiful. Like a lot of Norse mythology within.
So I ask you what your stance is on the whole DLC thing, because I understand people use the idea of DLC as a pejorative. They use it to say, oh, it's not good or whatever. But
you want me to tell you what a DLC thing is to me? I'll point something out, please. I stick by it. Miles Morales was DLC. I wholeheartedly believe that was meant to be DLC because it was very, very short. But did I love that game? Yes, I did. I thought it was incredible.
That's exactly my point. That's Fonz, you and me, kindred spirits, my friend. Because people talk about DLC and they say it in a pejorative kind of negative connotation. I like Miles Morales more than the original Spider-Man.
Thank you. I'm with you.
I like Hive Busters more than Gears 5.
Really?
I do. I
I
love.
like it,
Well,
but I
okay.
don't like
I
it
love
more.
Gears 5. I love Gears 5 for what it does in a different light, but graphically and as a multiplayer co-op kind of thing, Hive
It
Busters
was
does
fun.
something completely different, and I think it deserved a Miles Morales treatment. Like in my humble opinion, like a separate. It could have been something of its own, right? Needless to say, I say all that to say, uh, even those in the camp that think this is DLC, it's DLC for one of the best looking games on earth.
Oh my gosh.
Huh? The PCMR crowd likes to throw shade all day. It showed up on their PC and they went, "Yo, this thing's amazing." So if this is DLC for that, why are you all complaining? It's still the greatest looking game I've ever seen. I don't understand.
Oh, Miles Morales.
We're still back and forth on that.
Going back to Miles Morales real quick. Just like you, I liked it better than the 2018
Oh yeah, it's
Spider-Man.
amazing.
And
love it.
And to me, the graphics were incredible on
Bro,
the PS5.
When you turn on the game for Miles Morales, you turn it on and he's in the subway and it pans down and you see the clean cut, the clean,
all the little hairs,
and you on his feet and they're playing the music in the background. I had a tear, bro. I just leave it on the screen
awesome,
sometimes, just listen to the music. It's so good.
There's only one thing I don't like about that game, and I'm sorry, it's a big point of contention with a lot of people. I do not like the voice of Miles Morales in that game. Him trying to do the higher pitch, and it's not against the voice actor, it's the direction. I don't like that they made him talk like that. I wish he would have sounded more teenager, less
I hear you. I hear you, Fonz, and some of us have. You're bringing it in the vocal aspect of it, and others have complained to me that those who don't like his portrayal of it, he was a bit of a simp. As it were, he was a little bit of a.
But it wouldn't have been as bad if his voice wasn't.
If his voice was different, yeah. Because you're in New York City, and New York City was well captured. I mean, like chef's kiss, well captured. That is not how a youngin from New York City goes about their business in 2020, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it was a glaring omission. I completely agree with you. But by and large, it was really good. It was really good.
Yeah.
So,
but
again,
with Ragnarok,
the people who going back and forth on the Ragnarok DLC back and forth, it is still to this very day, considered one of the best looking games ever made. To any PCMR snobs out there. So whether it's DLC or not, who cares? It's going to be great, and I'm looking forward to it.
Same. I was on RDX last week talking about Ragnarok, and somebody in the chat said it doesn't look next gen, and I'm just like, wow.
Yeah,
Look. You're not going to get much better than God of War. I'm sorry. Even God of War 2018, the graphics there are just freaking phenomenal. If that doesn't impress you, I don't think you can be impressed.
I kind of think some of those arguments, although many of them are disingenuous, and we know that, I think some of those arguments are earnest and they're just misguided because the marketing machines have kind of gone in the wrong direction for so long on that's all people see. Next gen is, complex AI. Next gen is, being like GTA 6, being able to follow a character, a protagonist, what do you call it, an NPC, go to work, go home, kiss their kids, go to a ball game, and still be able to do that thing while you're just watching them. Right? It's complex AI elements.
And also,
it's being able to have skyscrapers that have a room in every single one of them. You know what I mean?
That's next gen. It's that, and also I think even further improving on animations. I think that is next gen as well. Just making it more lifelike. But as far as just appearance, graphical fidelity, I think
visual is all they can sell you, so they keep fooling you. They keep throwing those things at you because visual is all they can sell you. They can't sell you the feel of a game. So I just think people use the wrong parlance because the marketers just keep throwing either 4K, visual fidelity at you or now ray tracing. I love ray tracing. I have an awesome RT card. You just got to stop with the ray tracing. Stop talking about it's skewing perceptions in the wrong direction.
Especially when it comes to the console market, because let's face it, as powerful as these consoles are, both the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, you're not going to get the ray tracing that you can on a really good computer. You're just not.
Exactly. It's just not going to happen.
It's not happening. And so far what we've seen is a lot of ray trace shadows, which don't do anything for me. Honestly, it doesn't wow me at all. When it comes to
So
like global illumination, that's
yeah,
when you start to see some differences. But if they're
yep.
not using that, it doesn't
Yes.
really make an
See,
impact.
that's exactly my point. Like the pushback I give to folks that go, "Oh, next gen is overblown," is it's because who's defining the next gen for you, right? The next gen is usually defined in a way to get you to separate you from your dollars. So they want to give you what you can see immediately. Oh, ray tracing,
Oh,
this and that. Games are being built still like last gen. They have not really started building next gen games. Best you're getting is ninth gen aware. They'll add some bells and whistles on the last gen game. Take example, what do you call it? Gotham Knights, right? Looking forward to it. It's going to be an awesome game. That game is a last gen game. Even though they've now said, "Oh, we're not releasing it for last gen anymore." The decision you made when you first built that game was those Jaguar cores. So that means you'll never have the complex AI that you need to account for the new consoles. You didn't start at that floor. You started at a far lower floor, right? So there will always be a back and forth decision that needs to be made when you're making these games.
yeah.
People just need to stop the whole generation talk. That's what ruins it for me, I think, right? Look in the
Well,
details,
when I
find the
talk about
complex
it,
stuff. Yeah.
whenever I really talk about the generational aspect, it's usually it's time to cut the old generation off. I want to
Yep.
see
Cut the cord. Yep.
improvements.
Yep.
I want to see. I
Sure.
want to go
Mm-hmm.
forward, and it looks like
Yep.
Xbox seems to be trying to push forward and
Mm-hmm.
leaving the Xbox One
Yep.
behind.
Yep.
PlayStation
And they're
5
doing
will
it in
be.
such a great way too. Like I really, really like. I did not think they could find such a good solution for leaving last gen behind. But basically the solution of, okay, last gen VCR Xboxes, you want to play flight sim? Here's an app that connects you to the cloud.
Yep.
What a solution! Amazing.
Yeah.
That means that console can live on in perpetuity for as long as you just want to keep it running. That's amazing. That is
Yeah.
amazing for consumers.
And
So
hopefully
I
the
think that's a
tech, the
great,
cloud
great,
tech
great move.
gets even better for them and the latency gets better.
Absolutely.
And then it would
Absolutely.
be really an amazing thing for people with old
Absolutely.
hardware.
Yep. Yep. I
Sebastian
love old
Cooper.
hardware.
Sebastian
No,
Cooper
it's not
says,
bad.
I'm sorry, but you're wrong, Fonz. Wait till you
Mm.
start seeing Unreal Engine 5, games start developing, then you'll see what
Mhm.
next generation looks like, brother. Sebastian, I'm with you on Unreal Engine 5. However, most of the things that I see that look really good are these tech demos that don't really have much
Mhm.
in terms of gameplay. Um,
Yeah.
but when you look at the aspect of something like a God of War Ragnarok, with all its technical prowess, with its mechanics, with the animations, with everything it's got going on in there, it blows me away. I'm
Yep.
sorry, the game, it looks
But
amazing.
remember, Ragnarok also has to account for the Jaguar cores of the PS4. So you're also not
know.
looking at a next gen game there. You
Yeah,
see what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like,
and no,
so the
it is
idea of
true.
defining that next gen is a mushy middle that they just use to try to separate you from your dollars. Because if you really want a next gen game, you want a next gen a next gen God of War that was built with the PS5 hardware as a base, as a
Yeah.
floor. Oh boy, would you see clarity there. But they'll never do that, because if they do that, they're alienating so many PS4 games.
Well, don't say they'll never do that. The next one, I think they will do that, for sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I ask myself, when will they think that is lucrative enough to do? Because the game the PlayStation is playing right now is just, you buy my box, I sell you my games, right? There is no elsewhere that you can play it. Yes, PC's now coming on board, but it's not quite there yet for them, right? When will they do it to then make it lucrative enough to where there'll be enough PS5s to make back that money? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
No,
I think that may take a while.
yeah, especially when you have 120 plus million PlayStation 4s out there.
PS4, exactly.
It's
That's what makes
crazy,
me
the
think the next
numbers.
gen will.
And of
Yes.
course that's why they played the game the way they did, at the start of the generation. Hey guys, you're going to want this all new experience just on the PS5.
We believe in generations.
We believe in generations motto, and
Yeah.
then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we have that over there too, but don't worry about that. Smoke and mirrors,
Absolutely.
Boba made me laugh. He said, Unreal Engine 5 doesn't necessarily equal photorealism, aka Fortnite. Like, and it's
Yeah,
true. You have
absolutely,
games like that under
absolutely.
Unreal Engine 5, but damn, is that game smooth? It is
Oh yeah,
smooth.
oh yeah,
It's-
and that is the argument that I give to anybody who looks their noses down at like mobile games. I look at you and I go, Genshin Impact and Fortnite. They play on everything. They play on the smallest device and the most hardcore of consoles, and they are smooth as butter. So yeah, Unreal has something out there that Everborn always, as you know, he as you might know, he does some developing. He has
Yes, he
this
does.
this fear that there will come a time where Unreal will be the only engine out there, right? Because it just seems to be so versatile, and everybody seems to just be
Mm.
foregoing their own engines for it, and that may be a dystopian future that we don't want.
Yeah, and
But
as
in
we're
the short
winding down
term,
the show now, and you're
yeah.
speaking about Everborn doing his thing. By the
Mm.
way, Everborn, if you're listening, if you're watching this, if you need a voice actor in anything or want
Oh
to
yeah,
try to have a voice in your
there
game or
you go.
whatever, hit
That's
me
right.
up,
Yes,
please, because
that's
I am
right.
delving into this world and I've done one project already, but I want to
Cool.
get into video games. And
Awesome.
so,
Awesome.
K.Asante, I know that
Yes,
you
sir.
want to dabble in making video games in the future. I will
Yeah.
say the same thing for
I'm
you.
playing some.
So let me know.
I've made some games that'll never see the light of day. I'll tell you that.
Well,
But no, it's fun. It's fun. It's a technology, and right now I'm just Everborn Saga's tester. I'm his game
nice,
tester. That's about
nice.
it.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. I want to see what he's got going on over there.
Mm.
All right, so that's the end of the show, folks. Thank you for showing up. K.Asante, thank you for being an amazing guest. Even though your internet cut out here and there, still we powered through.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it, Fonz. Yes,
Let them
internet
know where they
connection
can find you,
notwithstanding.
buddy. Let them know where
Yeah,
they can find you.
it has been an honor to be on your show, sir. I've been an avid watcher of yours, and of course RDX, the great RDX. Shout out to Dealer. I think I saw him in the chat a little while ago. It is a great thrill for me to be here. You always keep it real, as it were, and you speak your mind, and a lot of folks out here appreciate you for it, me
I thought you
included.
were going to say a
It's
lot of folks out here hate you for it, because that's true too. That is
no,
very true.
it's odd, right? People just
Yeah,
speaking their minds and getting appreciated for it, but it seems like not enough of us do so in these
it's
streets.
true.
So
It's true.
we appreciate you, good sir, for continuing to do that,
Thank
and
you.
I feel
Appreciate you.
honored to be a guest on this show.
No,
K
pleasure's mine.
Asante, you can find me all the places you find me. I am the co-host of the Gaming Circle podcast, as Fonz has alluded to. We host a nice, fun, try to be a little slanderous, PG-13 on Saturday mornings,
PG-13.
Eastern Standard Time. So yes, come check us out. We always have fun. We always try to keep it respectful and try to keep it truthful, but be a little slanderous at the same time. So we appreciate y'all coming check us out. Thank you so much.
That's awesome. Thank you for coming. And everybody, please hit that like button on the way out, because honestly, it helps. I had over 200 people watching today. Thank you. I thank each and every one of you guys that showed up. Even if you don't like me and you just came by to hear slander from me or put me on blast on some other social media site, look, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come by and see little old me talk about these games that we all love. So, and also for the people that are listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all those apps out there, thank you very much for listening. I appreciate you too. And if you ever feel inclined, come by on a Sunday, check us out live. It's fun. You can be in the chat conversing with me. I'm always reading the chat and talking with people there too. We'll have a good time. So come on by. Until next time, guys, though, please game on.